everybody, it's Muffin, and today I wanted to go over one of the strongest comps in TFT right now and how you can use it to secure more top 4s and gain infinite LP. A lot of people know about the guild Xayah board, or even more recently the guild Deja board. You'll usually see 1 or 2 people going this every lobby, but how often have you seen a guild Twitch board? Almost never, I assume. Even though it's one of the most consistent top 4 comps right now, and when played correctly can win most lobbies up until probably the Masters level. To prove this, I made a brand new account and played only Twitch carry until I was able to hit Diamond. It took 27 games with an average of an 85% top 4 rate and a 37% win rate. I think I only bot forward like 4 times. It's fairly consistent, especially because no one's playing it. And one of the benefits of being subscribed to a smaller YouTube channel like me is when I make a video on a comp, it doesn't necessarily get blown out of proportion and become everyone's lobby. So maybe hit that subscribe button and I'll show you some more comps that no one's really playing. But honestly, this comp is insanely underrated, and that's why today I'm here to teach you how to climb with Twitch reroll. Now, this comp revolves around hitting a Twitch 3 with this itemization. There can be some flexibility in what kind of units you're going to use, but the itemization on Twitch is not flexible at all. Deathblade gives a ton of AD to make your Runaan's proc so much larger, and neither of these items are that good without the others. So Guinsoo's Rageblade is the only real flexible item, and that's only if you can make up for the attack speed from either augments or just having a bunch of swift shots on your board. The basic comp is 7 guild with a Jason Shapeshifter frontline and 1 swift shot to help Twitch gain some bonus attack speed. There are a lot of other endgame boards you can play if you choose to, but we'll get to those later. In the early game, which is stages 1 through the end of stage 3, your goal is to build Rageblade and Runaan's Hurricane. I know I said Deathblade and Runaan's aren't good without each other, but that's mostly late game when champions have really large health pools from either being a dragon or having tons of shields or items. Rageblade and Runaan's will generally get you through the early game and can be pretty oppressive, ending a lot of early win streaks, which will lower how strong a lot of your enemies can become. So item priority on carousels is always bows, unless you already have 2. Then it becomes completing one of these items. If you don't have any bows by the end of stage 1, it's worth sacking rounds and making econ to get better item priority on first carousel, as once you have at least 1 bow item and a Twitch 2, you're fairly strong and will win a lot of these early mid-game fights and save a lot of HP. Build as strong as a frontline as possible and don't hold Zippies till you're at least level 6. Zippy's not very valuable until he's at least 2-starred, and he will only grief your econ. Great starting boards are the Guardians plus Yone board. Items go on your Yone and tank items will go on your Leona. You can also run Guardian Swift Shots if you find your Twitch early, tank items on Leona still, and items on Twitch obviously. And then Astral Nidalee is pretty good as well, especially if you're trying to lose streak, as the trait gives you gold for free. When you go level 5 in any of these comps, you can just throw in Sejuani, or even a Jace if you find him. And honestly, Jace plus Shapeshifters plus Sejuani is honestly better than any of these 2-star frontlines. So if you find a Jace, it is always worth holding. You also don't have to force Twitch in as soon as you find him. If you have a 2-star like Yone or any other carry, you definitely can leave them in because you want to save as much HP as possible. Just econ up to level 6 and you'll slow roll for Twitch, and then when you find Twitch 2, plus at least 1 swift shot, then you can work him into your board. By the end of stage 3, you should ideally have Runaan's and Rageblade, a Twitch 2, an Ezreal 2, a Sejuani 2, plus some level of upgraded frontline or the Jace Gnar combo. And your board should look something like this. During the mid game, which is generally stage 4, stage 5-ish, you're going to keep slow rolling at level 6 until you find your Twitch 3, only going down to 50 gold every turn, but your comp really isn't going to change very much. So you only really need to roll during combats, and when you're out of combat, you should be highly prioritizing positioning and scouting. One of the strongest things about this comp is with proper positioning, your Twitch is going to do a lot of damage if he's not being touched, but if he gets 1-tapped, he's just going to die. And positioning is notoriously something that's weak in lower level of players, so this is a great time for you to practice. If you just click on everyone's names in your lobby, you'll be able to see what their board looks like. And in general, your main tank, whoever has your tank items, should be facing the most amount of enemies, and Twitch should be as far as possible from them. I do like Twitch and Ezreal on the same side of the board, however they should not be on the same row, because then Xayah will always stun both of them, and as they're your only damage dealers, you really don't want that. It is okay to start holding Zippies up to this level, however I would only hold him up to 2-star, especially if you're contested Zippy. Zippy 3 should not be happening every game unless you're extremely lucky. The only other units worth holding are Jace and Gnar. Xayah will go in our endgame comp, but is extremely unvaluable unless she's 2-star and has Ragewing in. So until we're able to fit in a Shyvana or a Hecarim, there's really no point holding Xayah's, and it's just going to grief our econ as well. And honestly, until you have like a Hecarim 2, Xayah 2, Ezreal 2 is just going to do more damage. It's just a better unit. Once you find Twitch 3, you can go level 7 and try and fit in your Zippy over some other unit. Probably your off tank, so if you're playing Leona Braum, probably take it over your Braum. Leona will be replaced with Jace eventually if you don't have Jace already. And here you should probably just save your gold to go level 8. This is where you're going to start getting weaker than most of the enemy comps. However, you should have saved a lot of HP in the early game and mid game from this point, that by the time you're able to go level 8, a lot of other people should start dying off, and hopefully hopefully some of these units like Xayah or Jace are going to become a little bit less contested, and you'll actually be able to find the units you need for upgrades. So just save your gold. You're not going to be able to find it at level 7 if you're contested. In the end game, which I consider stage 6 and onward, most games you'll start losing your fights around here, especially if other people have not died off in the lobby yet, but you should have a huge health pool, so it should be okay. If you still need upgrades for Jace and Xayah, but your health isn't too high, then here you can kind of roll down trying to find these upgraded units, and you'll probably get like a second or a third. But if you do have a lot of HP, then you can go for one of the other main outs. This is finding a Zippy 3 with decent items. You normally like IE Bloodthirster and a Titan's Resolve, and then the other out is going 9 and finding a Shyvana 2 to put in over this Gnar. Especially if you're able to find AP items, these are your 2 general outs. Otherwise, you're probably going to go 4th or 3rd, which is still gaining LP. This should not be a complaint. Also be sure to keep on rolling during fights, but mostly paying positioning and scouting during your actual turn. We mentioned dodging Zyra ults earlier, but also during this stage of the game, a lot of people are going to have Shyvana, so it's worth dodging Shyvana as well. She ults towards the largest group of enemies, so clumping your other units while keeping Twitch by himself can be very valuable. And in general, this is how you play the comp. I think I've averaged like a 2.6 with it when I did my climb to Diamond, but obviously the higher rank you get, the less likely you can play a comp every game. So some good signs that you are able to play this comp this game is if your first augments you are offered is like double trouble, gear upgrades, or if you just have a really strong AD direction, such as maybe like 2 bows and a sword after stage 1, or a Runons and a sword, something like that. Also some best augments that I really like for this comp, pretty much anything that has guild in it. Cybernetic enhancements is really great. Item grab bag or component grab bag I'm a huge fan of. Swift shop emblems are really good. Best Friends, Second Wind, and Celestial Blessing are all very good for this comp. And if it's a prismatic game, 2 really good prismatic augments for this are 1, Verdant Veil, because then you don't have to avoid CC at all, and 2, Loaded Dice, because at level 6, it's very likely you're going to hit your Twitch 2 for free. So you can sack the early game for items, and then in the mid game, you'll find a Twitch 2 for free, and you can just level up after that and find your good comp at level 7 and level 8. And now you know how to play Twitch carry. And if this comp helps you get any LP, please consider leaving a like on the video. It helps me out so much. And also consider subscribing for more TFT content. But obviously a comp is only as good as the patch it's played on. And lucky for you, every patch I compile a list of every comp you should be playing. And here's the most up-to-date one that I will be changing every patch for the rest of the set. And with that, I've been Muffin the Gamer. You guys have been amazing. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.